One question. I want the mainstream media's head to blow up today. We can use what's happening with these ICE helping out at the airports. We can use this as a test run, as a test case to really perfect ICE's involvement in the 2026 midterm election, sir?
Yeah, I think we should have ICE agents at the polling places, because if you're an illegal alien, you can't vote, right? It's against the law. It's a federal crime for you to vote in federal elections. And so if you're an American citizen, you should be happy that.
Did you just hear that? Play it back if you need to, because what you just watched was not a leak. It was not a rumor. That was the President of the United States on camera saying he wants ICE agents at your polling place in 2026. Now, they sold this to you as airport security. They told you ICE is there to help with long lines. But in that clip, in his own words, Trump connected the airport deployment directly to controlling who shows up at the polls. And here is what they are not telling you, those long airport lines. The TSA workers going without a paycheck for over a month. That crisis was manufactured. Senate Republicans blocked TSA funding bills, not once, not twice, 9 separate times. So let me ask you this. Is this a security story or is this a power grab? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will have every fact you need and you will understand exactly what is at stake for every American who plans to vote in 2026.
Airports across the country are now dealing with massive staffing shortages at the TSA, leading to hours-long security lines and widespread disruption. But those shortages didn't just appear overnight, right? They are tied directly to a funding standoff in Washington. Senate Republicans have repeatedly blocked Democratic proposals to fund TSA and other Department of Homeland Security functions, with multiple bills failing to pass despite focusing solely on keeping airport security operations running.
Senator Cruz and I came up with a plan. We said, look, it's a two-step process. The Democrats have offered to open up everything but ICE. Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And then at the same time, we would offer a bill for reconciliation where we don't need any Democratic votes to do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that. Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no.
Democrats' position has not changed. We want to pay TSA workers today. We're ready to meet with the White House today to keep talking. In fact, we were going to meet this morning with Tom Homan, but apparently the White House pulled that meeting because of Donald Trump.
Let that sink in. A bipartisan deal was put on the table. Democrats agreed to it. Republicans in the Senate agreed to it. And Donald Trump personally said, no, here is what they are not telling you. According to the official Senate Appropriations Committee record, Senate Republicans blocked legislation to fund TSA not once, 9 separate times. 9 times, TSA workers, Coast Guard members, FEMA employees all sent home without pay, while Republicans in Congress blocked every single attempt to pay them. We are talking about real people here, TSA officers who couldn't afford gas to get to work, workers who couldn't pay their rent, people who showed up anyway, because they believed in their jobs and got nothing. Now here is the part that should make you furious. ICE was fully funded. Last summer, the Republican Congress gave ICE billions of dollars. So while TSA workers went without a paycheck, ICE agents stayed on the payroll fully funded, ready to deploy. And then when the crisis hit, Trump sent the agency that was funded to replace. The agency he defunded, he caused the emergency, and then he used that emergency to put immigration enforcement officers inside every major American airport. This is important because ICE agents are not trained in airport security. NPR confirmed that even Tom Homan, Trump's own borders, are admitted ICE agents would not be running X-ray machines. But then just moments later, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy told ABC News they can run X-ray machines. Same morning, completely contradictory statements when an administration cannot get its own story straight on who is doing what at your airport. That is not competence, that is chaos, and American travelers are living inside that chaos right now. What you are looking at right now is the official record. This is not an opinion. This is not a partisan talking point. This comes directly from the United States Senate Appropriations Committee, a government website. It lists every single time Republicans blocked a vote to pay TSA workers. 9 times, TSA workers couldn't pay their rent. While this list was getting longer every week, Share this screen with anyone who tells you Democrats caused this shutdown. The receipts are right here.
Set of risks. And politically, this creates a serious problem for the administration. I mean, they already backtracked on the amount of ICE agents they deployed to Minneapolis and parted ways with those who were overseeing that train wreck. According to reports, Trump has ordered ICE agents deployed to airports not to wear masks and to try and blend in with travelers.
Struggle the great American public is going through at the airports. They're going through a big struggle right now, and we just put ICE in charge, and they're helping TSA, the agents, and they're working together so far very well. I actually suggested that in the airports they take off their masks, and they did that. In the airports, I'm a big believer in the mask because we have, Biden allowed hundreds of thousands of killers into our country. We're rapidly getting them out, by the way. But they would...
Okay, I need you to focus on what you just heard, because that was a lot. First, the masks. Trump personally ordered ICE agents to remove their masks at airports. Why? In his own words, he didn't love the look. Not a security reason, not a legal reason, an aesthetic preference. The President of the United States made a law enforcement decision based on optics. Now, this matters because we know why ICE agents were wearing masks in the first place. The ACLU, in their official statement on this deployment, noted that requiring agents to identify themselves was one of the core reforms Democrats demanded after federal agents killed two American citizens in Minneapolis. The masks weren't vanity, they were a civil rights concern, and Trump overruled it because he didn't like how it looked on TV. Second, that press conference moment. Watch how Trump treats a reporter for doing their job. You're not doing a very good job. That is the President of the United States dismissing a direct question about deploying a federal agency inside civilian airports. No answer. Just an insult. I believe this is outrageous, not just as politics, but as a basic violation of the public's right to know what is happening inside their own airports. The ACLU has already put out an official statement warning that ICE agents have, and I quote, a clear track record of abusing their power. These are not my words. These are the words of one of America's oldest civil rights organizations. What this actually means for you if you are flying anywhere in America right now is this. You may encounter an armed federal agent whose primary job is immigration enforcement, who is not trained in airport security, who has been told not to wear a mask, and who can and in some cases will detain you for questioning. That is not security, that is a police state operating in a gray zone. These are not opinion pieces. These are real headlines from USA Today, The Guardian, and Wired published in the last 24 hours. Every major outlet is now confirming the same thing. ICE is not fixing the lines. Travelers are saying it themselves, the chaos is the same or worse. And according to AP News, one airport had just 2 TSA agents at the main checkpoint on Sunday afternoon. 2, for an entire international airport. Travelers waited 6 hours. Some missed their flights entirely. That is the reality on the ground while Washington plays politics with your safety.
Signaling that he in fact is very well aware of the mess that he created, while sending those who were involved in said mess to help clean up another mess that he created. You see how this administration works?
One question I want the mainstream media's head to blow up today. We can use what's happening with these ICE helping out at the airports. We can use this as a test run, as a test case to really perfect ICE's involvement in the 2026 midterm election, sir.
Yeah, I think we should have ICE agents at the polling places because if you're an illegal alien, you can't vote, right? It's against the law. It's a federal crime.
Let me tell you exactly what we just witnessed in that clip. That was not a slip of the tongue. That was not a joke. The President of the United States on camera agreed to deploy ICE agents to American polling places in 2026. His advisor called the airport deployment a test run, and Trump said, yeah, now a DHS official did tell state election directors in February that ICE would not be at polling places. But that was before the airports, before the test run conversation. Before Trump, in his own words, said, yeah, I think we should. Senator Ed Markey, Democrat of Massachusetts, put out an official statement in February warning about exactly this scenario. He said, and I quote, Trump's immigration crackdown isn't just racist, it's a poorly veiled effort to rig the 2026 election. That was February. We are now in March, and Trump just confirmed it on camera. Here is my strong opinion, and I will own it. What this administration is doing is using a funding crisis they helped manufacture by having Senate Republicans block TSA pay 9 separate times as cover to normalize the presence of armed federal immigration agents in civilian spaces, airports today, polling places. Tomorrow, that is the stated plan. Not my words, Trump's words. I have been covering politics for a long time, and I want to be very direct with you. The right to vote is the most sacred thing in American democracy. The moment armed federal agents stand at the entrance to your polling place, regardless of what they say their mission is, that is voter intimidation. That is the definition of it. And it is illegal under federal law. What this means for every American watching this video, especially those of you over 55 who have voted in every election for decades, is this. Your vote is being targeted not by foreign governments, by your own government. The way we fight back is simple. We vote, we organize, we tell everyone we know what is happening, and we do not let this become normal. Democracy does not die in one dramatic moment. It dies when enough people look the other way, and I refuse to look away. I hope you do too.